All right. We should be live.
Awesome.
Hello, Mohammed. How are you?
Hello, I am very well. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
Good.
Fabulous. So, I had this question.
Mm,
We were having a discussion about, and actually, it was a video that you have on your channel that you were discussing a previous issue that you might have had.
mm,
Um, and it got me thinking about Sharia law. I mean, okay, point blank, I think women are out of control sexually. They don't take any responsibility for their part in how their bodies and all that stuff affect men. And I think there's something to having more stricter standards when it comes to how women express themselves, as they would say.
mm, 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 mm. Well, is that the kind of the nudge for the question, or is that where we're
Yeah.
going to start from?
I
Um,
think so. That's
yeah,
just kind of what I'm wondering. What that would even look like, and why it's important. Maybe go into the history of that.
yeah. I mean, when I look at when I look at what I look at is myself and just what I see with young men around me, and the repercussions of various, let's say, ways that they're living their lives,
Yeah.
both for young men and for women. And I can really speak for men mostly, with what I'm seeing. With the main thing is the only way for us to make any type of change in society. And a change in society is going to lead to, when I say change in society, I mean living just healthier, happier as men, not feeling as lonely, not feeling as depressed, not feeling like there is such a lack of really, truly love out there for men, like a lack of healthy relationships with the opposite gender for men.
Yeah.
I think the first thing we need to realize as men is there's a problem, but we also are, as men, we are also part of this. Like we are now in this new landscape.
Hmm.
And we could point the finger and say, well, women now just have multiple partners. They've gone kind of, feminism has driven them kind of crazy.
Kinda.
Exactly. Yeah, being nice, being, and now we're stuck in this hellhole where men feel like they can't relate to women or have normal conversations with women. Like having a normal conversation with a woman today, who you might be interested with, is seen as a big deal. It's like seen as something that is almost like, oh wow, you're able to communicate with women. There's guys selling courses online since the
Oh.
last decade or 2 decades on how to communicate with women. That
Mhm.
says something to me, that there's a dysfunction that's happening in both. I can't. I think feminism rose and then men took a seat. I think that's the way we could put it. It's like feminism came up and men were like, oh fuck it. There are, I don't want to call it weakness, but what I could call it is just an unevolved or an immature uh, awareness in men. And the way that that's showing up is with this weird red pill stuff. Like the red pill stuff, to me, as someone now who, I'm in my 30s, I'm maturing as an adult, is it just looks like a bunch of guys who are traumatized to me,
Yeah.
like traumatized by feminism, angry not just with feminism, but in a way angry and vengeful towards women.
Mm.
Um, and that's not going to get us anywhere, because when I see what the red pill stuff is talking about, and there's a few notable figures that I have seen, and they're a bit of the extreme,
Mhm.
like, wow, but we have mothers, we have sisters, we've got good wives, we've got good, ironic, your channel name is Good Mother. Like
Right.
we have good women, and we have good mothers. We have sisters. I might have a daughter one day. Am I gonna talk like, I'm literally, a lot of these red pill guys, they talk literally about pimping women. Like, yeah, spin your plates, which basically means have as many women as you can have in circulation,
Right.
sleep with as many women as you can, and focus on your goals and shut off your heart. I'm like, that sounds like you've got a problem to me.
Right. Right.
Because it's like, okay, you want more, you want more traditional conservative women,
Mm.
which is good. Okay, you want more traditional conservative women. Uh, that's what you want. But then you also play into the collective trauma by just having as much sex as you can.
Right.
And then you end up being this angry, highly sexualized, like a high body count in a man is also, it's not something to really be proud of. Like, okay, you've managed to play to some social cues. You know, these red pill guys and these alpha male guys will talk about like bullshit things like deepen your voice, look into her eyes, and dominate the conversation. It's like you look like a serial killer. Please don't do that. You know?
Well, actually, is it wasn't there like a craze about serial killers, like women,
Yeah,
like
yeah, maybe. And you know, my theory behind it is because again, I don't use the word weak, but because men have become silenced and they've also almost been castrated.
right,
The almost like women would rather have a man with edge, but he's a fucking serial killer,
right,
than have someone with no spine. And I think as men, we need to kind of realize, okay, let's look at reality. The best thing we can do is go back to philosophy and reality and just see things as they are.
yes,
Deepening your voice, building big muscles, I don't know, getting tattoos, and all of that is nothing but a facade if you don't take care of the main aspects of your character as a man and as a
hmm,
human, as an adult. And I think
yes,
the same applies for women as well. It's like
absolutely,
before we go and think about, you know, masculinity, you know, this is what a masculine man does. It's like,
right,
okay, first let's first be adults. First, let's come to an equilibrium first, and then we can open up the conversation of masculinity. I'm not against, of course, I'm 100%. Uh, I'm all for a healthy, integrated, masculine man who does manly stuff. You know,
mm,
that's good because as men, what do? We love, most of us will love boxing, uh, fishing. I know typical manly stuff, but we also have men who love art.
mm,
Like, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. It's the understanding of, it's the age old saying of know thyself. So I think to solve the problem of where we are today, before we try to shut things out and talk about becoming men, first let's look at, and this is echoing, I mean, I got all this idea was planted in me by Richard Grannon of
mm,
first becoming adults. It's
right,
like we become adults first, then we can look at becoming men. And
mm,
it really fucking breaks my heart when I see young guys, and I've been in their shoes, and I've been the guy who's been picked on, and I've also been the guy who stopped getting picked on, and I've been the guy who was rejected by women, and I've been the guy who didn't have a woman want to turn him down at one point. I know what it feels like to feel isolated, lonely, impotent, and I know what they're going through. But the
mm,
solution isn't going to be to drown out reality and build a facade of what we think a man is. It's to become men.
yeah,
It's to become, to truly become men. There's a saying by Ali bin Abi Talib, who's we can call him a strong figure in the religion of Islam. And he says, you know how we say in English, we say, without your word, you're nothing. Or what is it? I give you my word.
mm,
There's a saying which is, a man is the word.
mm,
I think that that really resonates with me in the sense of you cannot compartmentalize aspects of yourself and say, this is how I'll be with women, this is how I'll be with your career. You are a
right,
whole person, and that's how you're
right,
going to be everybody. So yeah, I drifted off into a tangent.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
it's good.
I did. It did happen,
It's
but I,
it's good.
yeah, what's that?
It's good. My question is, how do women get in the way of men becoming actual men?
Um, I think it's the toxic. I don't even like using that word. Let me define it rather than use the word toxic. It is the anger and the surveillance, the high surveillance of men of don't be careful, don't you dare be a healthy, developed man. That is
Mm.
threatening. Don't
Right.
do it. I need you as a man, especially as a man who wants to be my partner, not to judge me for the things I've done in my past and to
Hmm.
completely accept me as I am. Now, there's this is a two-sided coin. One part says, I must judge you on your past because your past tells me who you are in a sense. Like
Right.
if you've been around sleeping with every other guy, then of
Hmm.
course I'm going to judge. Yeah, I will judge. How can we not judge? I judge all the time.
Yep.
Like whoever says like, "Oh, I don't judge." It's like, "Of course we're judging. It's in our human
Right.
nature." Why do we
Right.
segregate into groups and cliques? That's normal. It's normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's human nature. Um, but another part is being mature enough to also know the difference between how is it that you tell me your story that makes a difference, or how is it that you operate with your story? Because at the end of the day, we are the result of the stories that we tell ourselves and how we go about living our lives, in a sense. In a sense, our
Yeah.
actions play a role. But if a woman comes to me and says, I slept with many guys in my past and I regret it because it ruined something in me. And now I'm getting therapy because I feel like I don't know how to intimately connect with others. I can
Hmm.
really respect that.
Hmm.
I can respect that because that shows someone who is trying to get better every day. But if a woman comes to me and says, don't you dare judge me, I will sleep with as many men as I want, and you
Right.
better accept me as a woman of value and high
Right.
value, and you better you better not tell me um, that you better not slut shame me or whatever. It's like,
Hmm.
and then you also, but the thing is, you're free to do what you want as an individual. But the minute you start trying to influence the collective of society is when I'll
Hmm.
say, hold on a second.
Yeah.
No, I don't want my girls to idolize women like that. No
Like what
way.
Cardi B and
Yeah,
all
exactly.
the
I was gonna say Nicki Minaj. I'm like, is it Nicki Minaj? Yeah, it's Cardi B.
it,
Exactly.
I mean, I think they're all the same pretty much.
They're all the
There's
same.
for
They're all, and it's all just if I go back. I mean, if I go back to Islam, I would say it's just it's it's simply what it is. It's corruption. That's it.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
just that we don't need to beat around the bush and we don't need to psychologize everything. I can just look at something and say, well, that's fucked up and that's bad and that's corruption. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm separate from it. It doesn't mean that I don't, it doesn't mean my hands are tied behind my back.
Yeah.
I can still make a difference by not sleeping with as many women and then complaining that, oh, there's no virgins anymore, or oh, women are different today. Well, what about you, bro? Why are you sleeping with all these random girls? Why are you hooking up with so many girls? And then you talk about wanting virgins. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, but the guys that typically will say that they're not hooking up with virgins. They're just
They're all they're already with
keeping
the men.
the practice messed up ones occupied.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But that, in a way, it's like okay, if something is already traumatized and broken,
Yeah.
don't break it more. Be the. It sounds well. Sounds like what Michael Jackson says. It's like be the change, man. Be the
Mm.
change because I've seen it happen in my own life where I liked a girl. She was not who she said that she was. She was sleeping with many other guys. I didn't know this.
Mm.
She slept with my best friend, and my
Mhm.
best friend was the one who did the sleeping with. She didn't just he didn't just fall into her and be like, oh well, we had sex, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, he played a role in that, and I think that's what we lack today. And that was in my previous videos. We lack compassion and camaraderie amongst ourselves as men as well.
Yes.
It's tough. Women battle ferociously socially, but when they support each other socially, they do a good job. They're better at these things. I don't know.
Mm.
You got to tell me. But from what I see, when women when women gang together and they bully socially bully one woman. By
Yeah.
bully, I, you know, exclude her from social functions or
Yeah.
whatever it is that they do. When they're when they're dogmatically in this craze, they can be very they operate like a unit. With
Yes.
guys, we've lost that, and that's why I love martial arts, because we build that in martial arts.
Yeah.
The gym that you go to, you start to build that camaraderie with others. But yeah, I think I think we are where we are, and now it's up for us men to stand up and start to change the way that we operate,
Mm.
because we're not going to be able to change the behaviors of women. We cannot
Right.
change anyone in a way. We can't, but we can group together, we can evolve,
Mm-hmm.
and then those ones, the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's, and all of their cult leader followers
Mm-hmm.
will be disempowered because there's going to be no one to pay for their OnlyFans. There's going to be no one to sleep with them and be their be their sugar daddies. We would
Right.
evolve past that. We would realize that no, it's we can ascend our lower desires, you know, as men, and that's tough.
And especially in our society the way it is. I mean, you guys are built to be stimulated visually, right?
Visually,
I
precisely,
mean, everywhere you look, there's sex.
precisely,
Like everywhere. Like
precisely.
how does one not get? I don't even know what to call it. It's like hijacked. Your mind gets
Yeah.
hijacked
Yes, yes.
constantly.
Colonized.
Yeah,
Colonization of the mind through the various bombardment of sexual imagery. And this is a
yeah,
battle I, oh my God, it's probably one of the most difficult things to experience.
yeah.
I will rephrase. It is probably one of the most difficult temptations to draw yourself away from,
Right,
especially if you get a lot of female attention. It's
right.
very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Um, the if I were to advise myself previously, I would say first of all is approach it with a realistic view of to be abstinent is going to be near impossible if you are already knee deep in the world of filth and filth and sin.
Right.
It's it's gonna be it's impossible, and you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
uh, and you're going to then have this harsh voice play in your head telling you how you've constantly failed at keeping yourself away, and then you become that becomes your identity. You become the tempted. You become the man who is constantly tempted and falling into these uh this sinful act sound, you
Yeah.
know. You begin to identify as that. You become It becomes part of your psyche. I
Mm.
think compassion, compassion, camaraderie. These are the things that worked for me. First of all, having compassion for myself and realizing, you know what, it's actually really difficult to step away from this.
Right.
The second thing, realizing it's almost like Alcoholics Anonymous, submitting to some higher power. Um, and I don't mean to preach religiously here, because many people say, "Oh, religion," and I'll have people who've been wanting to debate me about Islam, and Islam is this and that. I'm like, okay, I don't read
Right.
too much. It's between me and God. It's
Yeah.
okay. You think it doesn't? If it doesn't work for you, it's fine. It's okay. I'm not bothered. You know, I've had people send me like 10 errors in the Quran. I'm like, I don't care. Like,
Right.
you're
Right.
wasting your time. It doesn't matter to me. And I love, for me, it's a discipline that helps me in my life. That's, if I could sum it up, really, that's truly what it is. Um,
Well, they have discipline. Like there's rules for women,
yeah, and men.
so they, yeah. But I'm talking specifically, because I like to hold women accountable.
Yeah.
But they have rules for how women should dress and behave
Yes.
and
Yes. So what's interesting about Islam is a lot of people think like, if I were to open up the Quran now and look at the Quran from
mm,
my perspective, and some people are going to bash me online, say this is so wrong. Um, what I realize is it preaches, and it is constantly, okay, let me first make this easy to understand for most of the viewers. The Quran basically is a text that talks about different stories, but it
Mm.
also gives you a guide for life. It's
Hmm.
literally tells you how to live, from how
Yes.
to pray, how to greet people, um, how to deal with even with inheritance. It goes into even those details. When it comes to men and women, we there's a common theme that is repeated in the Quran. The
Hmm.
first one is to cover the pockets, as we could call them. Covering the pockets means cover the cleavage, cover your armpits, cover your thighs. So basically, yes, it's important to cover up because I've said this frequently to feminists who speak to me and say, but it's liberation. Your sexual liberation, if it's tied to you having as much sex as possible and removing as many clothes, then look at the animal kingdom. They are naked and they mate all day.
Yeah.
You've now reduced yourself to that. If your
Right.
liberation is tied to your sexual organ and your ability to have as much sex as possible, that's sad.
Yeah. Well, and it places them actually lower on the food chain. So
Yeah,
it's weird.
yeah, yeah. But something precious, something as potent that is able to create life
Yeah.
should be respected, should be given its place, and that's what then makes it more beautiful, and that's what makes it more. Uh, hey, that's what makes it more intimate. But if you're having everybody be intimate with these
Right.
women,
Right.
then it becomes there's no more boundary. And what
Mm.
is something without a boundary? It's cancerous. It
Mm.
devours itself and the cells around it, and that's corruption. It becomes like a cancer.
Yeah.
Uh, so in according to I won't talk much about Sharia law because Sharia is actually a whole science and branch, and I don't know much about it, but I know
Mm.
a lot about the Quran because I've memorized because the Quran is a book that people memorize,
Yeah.
uh, and I've memorized many chapters from it, and I'm able to quote them in English. Um, but it tells men and women, tell the believing men and women to lower their gaze. So that immediately, if we apply that in real life, I'd have to be walking down my head down the whole day,
Yeah. Yeah.
literally.
Well, with all the
Yeah, with all the bombardment, it's
yeah.
constantly shoved down our faces. I'm gonna say down our throat, but I'm like, well, it even sounds weird now just to say it.
Right. Right. Right.
Pun is a pun. But it's constantly shoved in our faces, in our phones, and it's so easy. It's so easy for a guy today to pick up his phone, and there you go. There's your
Yeah.
portal to bliss. You want
Yeah.
women? You've got your phone, and they're digital, and they can do whatever you want, and it's disastrous. So lowering the gaze is, I believe, could be applied metaphorically as well as if you're constantly the world is now pornographized, let's say. Can I say
Yes.
that?
Yes. You could. This is a free speech channel, Mohammed. You could say whatever you would like.
Okay. It's pornographized,
Yeah.
and it comes down to us men. If we keep feeding the monster, the
Right.
websites, the OnlyFans, whatever it is, and even those interactions that are going to be happening on the streets, then we're feeding it. That's what it wants. That's how those websites survive, is
Hmm.
through ad revenue of people watching more videos.
Right.
Um, so the first step I'd say is lower the gaze. Well, I always use Habib Nurmagomedov. He's an MMA fighter, and he's gained a lot of popularity. Have you heard of him, Habib?
Mm-mm. No.
He's most of the viewers, most of the guys who are watching this. I don't know how I can see the chat, but I don't see it over here. But most of the guys probably know about Habib or Habib Nurmagomedov,
Mm.
and he embodies this to the dot. He embodies this to the point of lowering the gaze. The next thing is he just doesn't. It's simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. Lowers the gaze, does not does not even approach. I mean, we're told in the Quran, don't even approach sex um, with someone you don't know, with someone who you don't have some type of contract with. Don't even
Right.
approach it. That means don't even entertain flirting with them. Don't even
Right.
entertain. Don't even think about it. Literally.
Right. Right.
And it might be, of course, you're going to think about it, but it's our actions that matter at the end. How are we going to behave? But if we're going to just say, oh, Forget about everything. It doesn't matter. And Dostoevsky uh, echoes through this statement of you don't respect yourself, you can't love yourself, you can't respect others, you don't love others. You
Right.
basically become a slob who mates with anything and has uh, no moral compass, no moral code, and you just live like an animal. And look at the rates of depression that we have and anxiety we have.
Right.
No one's happy.
Yeah.
You're happy for what? While you're in the act, oh wow, yes, queen, so sexy. And then what? And then what? Oh, queen, wow, you dropped this crown because you had so much sex with guys. Here, put it back on. Okay,
Yeah.
congratulations. I don't know what kind of queen this is.
Not
It's
not a honorable one for sure. So you
no,
don't
no.
know much about Sharia law. Damn it! I was hoping
Yeah,
to
I
pick your
don't.
brain about it
I
because
don't.
I wanna develop. I mean, it's technically it's a way to oppress women. Okay, but I'm gonna call it something else. But what it really is going to be like a secular version of Sharia law, because I don't think a lot of these women understand how their irresponsibility and their carelessness with their own bodies affects society as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that and I agree. But I think men, like guys, I think there's a saying, it's that women are the gatekeepers. And they truly
Yes.
are. They truly are.
Yes.
They truly are. But guys, don't approach those fucking gates.
Right. Right.
Don't approach the gates. Don't approach the gates. There is a saying by the prophet which is along the lines of that women can be some of the greatest trials of this life. I mean, towards the end times, we're told
Yeah.
that women will become one of the greater trials, and I'm like, yeah, I can
Mm.
see how women can be a great trial for a lot of these young men. I'm not talking about uh, in a marriage where a wife is being grumpy because she's had a bad day at work. I'm
Right.
talking about on a grand scheme of things where men are tempted more than ever today. They have the easiest access today, and guess what? The men who follow through on the temptation are glorified as studs. So they
Mm.
have this mixed messaging of, yeah, you're a stud. You slept with that girl. Haha, nice, bro. Give me five. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I feel full of shame when I think about my days where I thought I was a stud for sleeping with as many girls. I
Yeah.
just feel like flesh with no soul who just had mindless sex. And it's like, where's the soul? Where's the man? Really,
Mm.
where is the man? Where is the man? Is that what I become as a man? I'm just able to sleep around. Is that all I'm gonna be defined by? And we look at these amazing men in history, from Alexander the Great uh, to who else? Salahuddin, to King Baldwin of Jerusalem, who at the age of 15 led battles, and he
Mm.
had leprosy. At the age of 15, he got on a horse, he led battles, and he had leprosy. And this is a human that lived on this earth.
Yeah.
Why are we different? Why has our mentality changed so much? Why have we become so brainwashed to glorify the wrong things?
As a society, yeah, I think that's true for everybody, every group.
Everybody. And then when I
Yeah.
look at, I'm like, okay, I was thinking the other day
I
about a guy
blame.
who,
Hold on, Muhammad. I blame moms. I blame mothers
yes,
because
yes,
this
yes,
this whole participation trophy shit
yes,
and
yes, yes, bullshit,
and
bullshit.
giving credit where credit is not due. I think
Yeah,
has leaked out everywhere else.
it's
It's like we
smothering.
celebrate the lowest common denominator and bring
Agreed,
everybody
agreed,
down. Yeah.
agreed. It is smothering. It is
Yes.
literally smothering.
Yes.
I do believe that I don't believe in participation badges for everybody, but I
Yeah.
believe in celebrating the efforts of those who try. That's good. Hey, you tried well, but you failed.
Yes.
You've still failed. Now
Yes.
you must learn how to fail. If you
Yes.
don't learn how to fail, you're going to become a spoiled little brat. And then it's going to carry
Yes.
on into your adult life. And I see that. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to fail. And you should fail hard, and you should have your heart broken
Mm-hmm.
because that's where, as Rumi says, that's where the light enters you from the wounds. That's where you get your wisdom from.
Mm.
I think cultivating strong is better than cultivating happy or
Yes.
pleased.
Yes.
Then it's just gluttony of
Yes.
participation badge after participation badge. It's silly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I don't understand it. I actually got in a, I don't want to say debate, but kind of a little back and forth with a mom that was pro making everything fair, and
yeah,
I couldn't I couldn't wrap my mind around like the mindset that it takes to believe that bullshit,
yeah.
or I don't know, maybe it's like they try to live in a fantasy where
It is
everything's
a
good,
fantasy.
you
It's not
know.
reality.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. And
I don't
I,
know, the feelings people that are more concerned
yeah,
with people's feelings, I think
yeah.
tend to
It's
lean that way.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. It's like there's a book that I've read a few books that left a bit of a lasting impression on me. Um, Feelings and the ability to push aside our feelings and power through and all of that stuff. Yeah, there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for it, and I think we need it now a bit more than ever. But it's also a double-edged sword. I think that some young men legitimately are traumatized, and I
Yeah.
don't use that word lightly.
Yeah.
Um, I hate it when people psychologize things in order to get out of difficult situations. Like, oh, I'm triggered and traumatized, so I can't work today. Imagine your fucking pilot said that while flying the plane. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am feeling triggered, and I cannot land this plane. We will
Right.
be 20,000 feet for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's irresponsible. It's childish, and it's yeah.
It is. Again, I blame women because
Yes,
as women, we are supposed to be responsible for the social fabric and the nurturing of
the
people in our
nurturing. Yes,
society.
yes,
And if you nurture a bunch of weakness and
yeah.
fragility,
You reward it.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
we as a society we reward stupidity
yeah.
too. I don't
Stupidity.
get it.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
don't get
Agreed.
it.
And I think that's where it became quote unquote. I don't want to use the word evil, but that's where it became corrupt. And then when Andrew Tate popped in on the scene,
Yeah, yeah.
but sorry, I have a habit of like jumping from topic to topic, so
Yeah.
it might
No, well,
be
no, I interrupted when you were going to bring that up
no,
earlier.
it's fine. I jump from topic to topic, so I hope your
Yeah.
viewers don't lose interest.
Oh,
When
they won't.
I was thinking, why is it that all of these young men were so captivated by
Yeah.
Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
And I realized, oh, it makes sense now. Since the age of about 16, I've been reading books about masculinity and what it means to be a man and diving into the psychology of masculinity based on the work of Carl Jung, who is a psychoanalyst who speaks about the archetypes and about how basically uh, we operate in the world and how different temperaments show themselves. And Andrew Tate burst onto the scene at a time where the world was begging for someone to cut through the demons of wokeness,
Yes.
basically set the dividing line to the reemergence of this figure who we could see as like the king, like in Lord of the Rings, the return of the king. He
Mm-hmm.
comes through and he cuts out all the chaos, and we're like, finally, because today there's no swords and no shields, we use our words instead.
Right.
And he's cutting through this with just logic. In a world of
Right.
his insanity, he's come
Yes.
with logic. And many young men were like, wow, first of all, he walks the talk because he's strong, he's a fighter, he used to be a pro fighter, and he's come to restore the balance. And he cut out the demons of the apocalypse. He brought all these girls on the show, and he basically told them that they're all full of shit, essentially.
Right.
And young men were like, oh, finally,
Yeah.
finally someone's done that.
Yeah.
And and there you go. That's why we've gravitated towards Andrew Tate, and we've seen a revival of that. After Andrew Tate, we've had more young men. There's one gentleman by the name of Hamza. Hamza. He makes content for young men, which
Mm-hmm.
basically just focuses on um, it's quite anti red pill. It's more better yourself, better the world,
Yeah.
and just be an adult, be a man. That's his
Yeah.
go home message of like don't approach the gates.
Yeah.
Don't approach the gates
Right.
because they're temptation and they will drown you
Yeah.
and suffocate you and smother you and brainwash you, and then you'll become like one of those orcs in Lord of the Rings, except literally you've been corrupted by this feminism, wokeism virus.
Yeah.
So it's in my opinion, it's a battle. It's
Yeah.
a battle. It's a battle. It's a battle on the self that we need to fight the most.
Yeah.
This is what we need to do. It's like how can we really change the world as men? Is first become the man that become the man that's needed right now. Become the man that's needed right now. And what do women need to do? I'll ask you that. What do you think they need to do? Honestly.
They need to take some damn responsibility for their part in all of this. Like the feminists typically want to blame men for everything. And I'm like, no. I mean, even going back to the whole sex thing, like, yeah, women are the gatekeepers of sex. It is our responsibility to impart standards and all the things.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know. I feel like we need like a law.
Yeah.
I go back to the Sharia law thing that it's like, if you, because I know it's more than just like, consequences. I mean, because ultimately it's consequences, right? For women's bad behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's what comes up frequently in if we go by the book and we look at if we were to look at the secular aspects that
Yeah.
could be applied anywhere that would be helpful for us,
Yeah.
it's what's called a woman having a wali. A wali is basically a guardian of the woman.
Yeah.
So as a woman, she can't interact with just any man. The man needs to approach the father, and then the father is then able to say yes or no that this guy will be a good match for my daughter.
Mm.
And then they allow them to then go. How would that be? Is basically instead of matching on Tinder with the girl, you match with her father. You see
Yeah.
if you're able to get through, and you say, "This is what I do," and he'll know if you're bullshitting because we can pick up on it as men. We can see it.
Right.
And if you're deceitful and you're lying as a man just to get through, you'll have the father to answer to. But what
Mm.
did feminism do? What did feminism do? It
Remove the
came and
father from the home.
removed the father, and it said, you know what, the father is just, even in the television and the media, the father's some buffoon. He's
Right.
some like, oh, I can't
Right.
believe they did that. And the woman goes and cheats on the father, the wife goes cheats on the father with the hot gardener, and it's just, yeah, that's feminism propaganda of the
Yeah.
father is an idiot. And it's
Yeah.
like you've got father and mother, and they're the
Yeah.
pillars of the home. They've removed the father
Yeah.
in every sense. They've removed the father from the home, and they've removed the heavenly father from our lives in a sense, because God is a patriarch,
Right. Right.
literally.
Right. Yeah.
And
And all these academic scientists, that are atheists,
yeah, yeah,
they 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 come up with, secular arguments for things. That's why I'm like, those are the people that I need to reach to
yeah,
convince to adopt this policy, this new
yeah,
policy.
yeah. And we could even approach it from the angle of just purely scientific statistics of looking at women with a higher body count equals higher divorce rates.
Mm.
Divorce in households means not always, but I mean, I've seen plenty of people come from a divorced household and actually thrive in life.
Hmm.
The statistic does not apply to the individual, but statistics still can be given their due respect. Is
Yes.
kids from divorced households are more likely to end up on drugs. They are more
Hmm.
likely to end up suicidal. Why? Because there is something lacking in their lives that should be there, which is just a family.
Yeah, they're not complete. They don't have complete structure.
Yeah, they're just a family. That's the why there's so much importance placed on family, and I
Yeah.
believe in all the Judeo-Christian religions, in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. family, what do they say during marriage? Till death do us part, and it's under the father God. But no, feminism will have you say, no, religion is evil, and it oppresses everybody, it oppresses
Right.
women, and express your sexuality and sleep with as many men as you can, and it's like,
Right. See, I feel like that term's been used wrongly. You know how feminists like to use the wrong words for stuff? Like it's almost when they say something, it's almost like they're saying the opposite of what it is. I've been
interesting.
thinking about the oppression thing. It's like, but also they're kind of projecting like this is what they
Yes,
need, this is what they
yes,
want, like deep down, and they know
interesting,
it'll be good for them.
interesting. And it's like, wow, now that you say that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you do not allow men to behave a specific way. You don't
Right.
allow people to use regular pronouns a specific way, like he and she. Who's really being oppressive here?
Mm-hmm.
Who's really being oppressive here?
Yeah.
Who's being oppressive here? If you are telling me that my child has to go to school and must learn
Mm.
about homosexuality and lesbians from the age of 5 or 6, this is oppression. There's things that are a red line that I
Yeah.
would never allow my kids, if I have kids, hopefully I do, to ever cross. Like
Yeah.
I would never allow my kids to even know about sex by the age of 8. They're not ready for it.
Right.
Teach
Oh,
them about the planets.
dude, I watched an interview. Minka, this chick that I've spoke to on this channel, she interviewed a young porn star. She's like 18 or something. Then this girl got addicted to pornography at age 6.
Yeah,
Like listening to her story, and she couldn't wait till she turned 18 so she could start making movies and stuff. But I was like, where in the fuck were her parents when she
yeah,
was doing this? Later, it came out that her mom, went to rehab like 2 years later. So her mom was already fucked up, totally. And she was an only child, so she was alone, and she had her laptop, and
that was
it
her
it
escape.
yeah, and yeah, addicted to porn at 6 years old.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
yeah, it is. It is.
Like,
It is. It is, and it's where we are. Like I
yeah,
always go back to this. It's like, okay, what can we do about it? It's where we are now. And
yeah,
I really am thankful for all the encouragement that I've received from you and from other viewers on your channel who came through, and on my channel who started watching my stuff, because I work
yeah,
really long hours. I personal train, I teach fitness at an academy, and I also do other work online. And I
hmm,
work like 16 hours a day. And I
hmm,
used to have to like think, oh, I need to make my YouTube videos so perfect. Then I just thought, fuck it, I'm too
yeah,
tired. I
yeah,
just need to get this message out. It's resting on my mind. It's on my mouth. It's like it's
yeah,
literally the words are being spoken. Let me just record it while I'm in the car between clients. That's how it
yeah,
started.
yeah.
And it's
No,
and
I
it's
love it. It's
yeah,
it's like authentic. It's to the point. It's whatever's
yeah,
touching your spirit right then and there, and that's
yeah,
the good stuff, man. That's my
yeah,
favorite content because I'm like,
yeah,
this will speak to so many people in
yeah.
so many different ways. I think.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I truly live what I share. Like I don't bullshit people, and
Yeah,
I don't think I can, because it just wouldn't make sense. Like, bullshit them about what? My hair
right.
fall? My hair fall is probably the only thing I'll bullshit people about. But other than that, I'll never be able to bullshit people, because then I don't know. What then? What am I gonna do then? Just lie?
Yeah, yeah. We have
Uh,
too much of that. Way too much
Yeah,
of
we
that.
have so much bullshit, and especially in my industry, the fitness industry, is I feel like fitness is the entry point for a lot of young men who are looking to better themselves. The first thing they lean to is fitness, because they think,
Yeah,
oh, I'll just build muscles and I'll become more masculine.
right.
And I think to myself, I look at a lot of guys in the fitness industry, with exception of a few who aren't good role models. They're fucking horrible role models, because they're promoting that either the far end of the red pill, or they're promoting just building an aesthetic physique and becoming like a trophy body. Like, oh, I'm desirable by women now. Look at my hair and my eyebrows, and oh, I'm looks maxing. I'm like, you sound like a woman. I'm like, you
Looks
sound like a
maxing.
woman.
Right, 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 right.
In my Arab with my I hang out with a lot of guys from Russia. I hang out with
Yeah.
a lot of guys from Kyrgyzstan, Dagestan, and I hang out with a lot of Arab guys. And they're not traditional, but they are, let me use the word, yeah, traditional old school guys, but they're young. They're my age and younger.
Yeah.
You tell them about looks maxing and they'll look at you like you're an alien. You tell them about a man who's meant, the maximum they will say about a man is, "Oh, wow, look at him. He shaved his beard. He looks good."
Right,
That's it. That's
right,
it. There's no
right.
like look smaxing and oh, skincare routine and self-care. It's like, okay, those things are all cool. It's good to take
Mm,
care of yourself, but you are not an object to be desired, my man.
right.
You're not.
And
That's
and I
yeah, go.
wonder how much of that is stems from the. I mean, because I always have these little sayings that I've picked up from the manosphere. It's like
Mm.
men are the prize, men are the prize. They kind of push that, and I wonder if that maybe comes from that. It's weird. I
It's weird
mean,
to think that you are a prize. Like it's a way for them to deal with the fear of rejection. In
yeah,
in all honesty, it's like, oh, if she rejects you, don't worry, you're the prize. It's like, no, if she rejected you, she didn't like you, and that's that.
right,
There is no need to philosophize it and say it's her loss or your loss. No, something that could have happened did not, because she did not reciprocate your feelings. But that's good that you can understand it as an adult and realize, well, do I want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me? No. Okay, I need to now deal with my own feelings as an adult, not gaslight myself and tell myself I'm the prize. No, you're not the prize. You're a human being.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
I
just
don't
you're
know.
just
I always thought the family unit would be the prize, like
that's
a
very
healthy, functioning family
wow.
unit. Like,
That's That's a very beautiful way of looking at it. And
yeah,
I would completely agree with that. Having a strong family,
hmm,
people would cross oceans for people do cross oceans. Refugees cross oceans for family.
yeah,
And in little boats that fall apart and they
oh
die
yeah,
on that's
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have a whole other ideology for that, but I mean, I'm using it as a figure of speech of yeah, that's a very beautiful way of putting it. Is family is the prize. Wow, that's a gem right there. That's a nugget.
Well, but feminists have. I mean,
Have
feminists
moved farther.
want to say they're the prize, and I think as a response, the men are like, "Oh no, we're the prize."
Interesting.
Like MGTOW is kind of a response, a reaction to feminism. It's like
Right,
men are completely getting, removing themselves from playing the feminist game.
right. I wish we
And
could just. I hope that any man or any young man who watches this is
yeah,
just. I don't want to. I'm quite ignorant to be honest about MGTOW, but I
hmm,
wish we could just not like enough with all these labels. Red pill. You put this pill. You use it if you have constipation. Use this pill if you have.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just take my. I'm happy to take my fish oil and let's just think. Okay,
Hmm,
man and woman. Let's just start back from Adam and Eve.
right.
Be the best Adam you can. That's it.
Hmm, yeah.
Go back to being the best Adam you can. And let's not, anytime there's an ism, feminism, manospherism, which ends up like is just a
It's the
counter
counterculture.
reaction, and it's like, oh, what
Yeah,
is this? What are you guys doing? It's like kids in the park, like,
pushing
girl,
back.
yeah, girls suck. No, boys suck. No, girls suck. It's like, okay, that's literally what you're doing on just a grown up scale.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, it's useful. I mean, the people are in so many different stages of their development and process. I know the
yeah,
guys recently have been talking about process and stuff. And I remember after the last 21 convention,
yes.
I interviewed John, and he was there helping Arthur Quan Lee with his art stuff.
Okay, okay, okay,
So he wasn't a speaker. He was
okay.
kind of a volunteer. But
Mhm.
he said something that was interesting. He's like, red pill should be a semester, not a degree. Like Like you can be in that space, take what you need from it, and then kind of move
Nice.
on.
Nice. I like that. Red pill should be a semester and not a degree.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. That's yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's what it was. In a sense, that's what it was. That's what it felt like for me. Is
Yeah.
it was a semester. It showed me some things that are reality, which were good. Like there's one thing that I see a lot of young guys who are butthurt about, which is like, oh, women just want your money and they want your security, and you need to be the full package before they fall in love with you. I'm like, yes, and I can see why women want security so they can build a family. But I'm
Mm.
not talking about the feminist woman who wants a traditional man, but then lives with feminist values. It's like,
Right.
what are you doing? Traditional woman? You want traditional man?
Yeah.
Be a virgin, have 4 kids, stay home all day and cook for them and cook for your husband. There you go.
Right. Right.
No, that's it.
Yep.
Simple. But no,
Super simple.
she needs to be a boss babe,
Right.
shit, and start 3 companies
Right.
and I have nothing against women working. I actually it's fine. Let women can work, but it's like, okay, if you're gonna work, it's gonna be more difficult for you to take care of your family. You're not gonna be able to do 10 things at once. If you
Right.
want to have a family, stay home and be with your family, and men then go and earn more money. But today's economy also doesn't really allow for that easily.
Right. It's easier for women to make money.
Is it?
It is. And I'm finding, and this might be anecdotal or whatnot, and it might
Hmm.
be because of the place that I live,
Yeah.
in the large amount of healthcare jobs that are
Hmm.
primarily taken up by women, like
Okay.
benefits, like health insurance, all that kind of stuff that you need for your family, those tend to be better uh, for women jobs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like many married couples I talk to, it's like she maintains the job because they have better healthcare benefits. I'm like, this is, I've heard this many times, so it can't be just a coincidence.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, for example, what happens here is women will sometimes just work, like women who get pregnant will
Yes.
have their maternity leave. They'll
Hmm.
go back to work, but they'll just work part-time. They'll work less hours, they'll make less money,
Yes.
and that's the reality. That's it.
Mhm.
You'll make less money. But then you have women who say, no, but I remember I got a book given to me and I threw it in the garbage after I read the first 10 pages. It was like, why the gender pay gap exists and how women need to be paid just as much as men. I'm like, I don't care about, let me not look at women and men. Let me look at worker A and worker B. Worker A puts out this much output, worker B puts up this much output. Why should they be paid the same?
Right.
But no logic. It's like, no, can I say a bad
Yes,
word?
you can.
No, I have a vagina and now I must be celebrated for that and I must be paid more for that.
Mhm.
And you must not judge me for wanting to make more money while working less hours. You are being oppressive and patriarchal.
Yes.
No, this is the economy.
Yes. Yes. I know it's weird how I think because the tyrannical matriarchy is so oppressive, they project
Yeah.
that onto others.
Yeah, it's a disaster,
Yeah.
but
A little
all
bit.
hope is not lost.
Yeah.
All hope is never lost.
Yeah.
Uh, for the young men who would watch this is just, as Marcus Aurelius says, is stop arguing about what a good man is, be one. So
Hmm.
be the good man, and collectively things will start to change.
Yeah.
It's power in numbers, just like feminism. If
Yes.
we begin to, as men, we stay away from the temptations, I don't need to label them, we know what they all are,
Yeah.
we will then begin to take back our power, and then our creative libido life force energy can go into other avenues and we can better society.
Right.
Like, look at any of these great men who made really a big difference, from Nikola Tesla to um, who else? Muhammad Ali to I always think of people who are involved in mixed martial arts. For some reason, I'm trying to avoid that, but I think men can understand what I mean here. Is your life force, your 24 hours in one day, that's what's going to change the world over
Yeah.
time. That's it. And just live. Life is really like, I'm realizing how short life is. Like, the years are going by. My parents, they're getting so much older, and I'm watching them age, and I'm like, my dad, who grew up in Iraq, who was in very difficult situations at one point, he never once in his life thought about red pill or MGTOW. He also grew up in a different time,
Right.
but the values that he embodies are timeless. Work really hard,
Yep.
provide for your family, pick the right spouse. Don't go and live in degeneracy, because that's just going to give you not just heartache, it'll give you STDs.
Right.
And that's it. And that's it. It's simple. And religion is a good way to give you some type of discipline in life. Oh, but people say, oh, but the Big Bang proved. It's like, okay, fine. If you don't want to believe in religion, have something, man. Have some philosophy. Even the samurais who believed that we came from the void and really didn't, some of them didn't even have a religion. They had, they were Taoist, but some, which is more of a philosophy, or they were
Yeah.
Buddhist. They were
Yeah.
Buddhist
Yeah.
philosophy. It's a philosophy. It's not, there's no religion in Buddhism. People think
Right.
Buddhism, oh, karma, oh, you reap what you sow. No, no, no. Buddhism is like, karma is what has happened, is the result of everything that's happened now, like
Yeah.
waves.
Yeah.
That's karma. Dharma is, what do you do this now, your behavior now. That's it. It's not what goes around comes around. No, it's what goes is karma, what it is.
Yeah.
And then even they had a moral philosophy. Something uh, they had something that they could live by, like the Bushido code: benevolence, honor, strength, all of that stuff. So they live by it.
Yeah.
Good. Johnny Midnight, ask Mr. Carter about hispa.
Yeah. What's that?
I I'm gonna quickly do a Google search to see if I've heard about it before, but I haven't. I'm referring to community morals. Oh, hisba. Okay, enjoying good and forbidding wrong. Okay, okay, okay. Um, so some time back, in a specific place, I won't mention where, um, you basically had these men walk around who would tell people, no, you shouldn't be dressing like this. No, you shouldn't be doing this. No, you should be doing, and they'd take you and put you in prison or make you sign papers. That was extreme. It,
Mm.
because I've experienced it, and I'm a Muslim guy, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, this isn't how it is. It's more about what you're able to. I think if we apply that with our families,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good way of going about it. That's a good way of applying change. First, let's do it with ourselves, with
Right.
basically enjoying, basically pushing what is good and
Yeah.
forbidding what is evil. Do it
Yeah.
first internally in the household. Do it first with yourself. We're not going to be able to make any change unless we do it here. So, my thoughts on it are, I can't really share my thoughts on it. I don't really have much thoughts on it, but I experienced it. And being on the end of it, for example, I left the gym one day wearing shorts, and I had to go sign a paper that says I'm not going to wear shorts anymore, in another place that I was staying at one point. So it's like, yeah, no, it's not, because it's always going to be up to some people's interpretation.
Mm. Mm.
So that's where the fine line of sanity and insanity might be. Of,
Right.
okay, this is getting a bit out of hand, you know. Um, so yeah, thank you for. Wow, I feel old now. He called me Mr. Kader. Now I feel like an
Done.
old man. It must be the white hair that's showing up more. But yeah, so sorry I couldn't answer the gentleman from in the question. Yeah, I couldn't really answer him.
That was the only real question I saw.
Yeah.
The
I
guys have the guys have been enjoying, I think, and
oh, that's
enjoying adding their thoughts in the chat.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to us individually. Like before, like the in, we carry we carry the culture. If
Yes.
you if we work in a workplace environment, and it's I've been in workplaces environment that were unbearable when I was
Mm.
working as a programmer in a previous life. Uh, I realized it's like, oh, okay, it's unbearable, but I can carry a culture. I can be the fool who brings brownies to the meeting, and everyone's looking at me like I'm weird, and then I just start eating halfway through, and I don't give them much of a pompous attitude. You know, I've worked in places that had a very strict corporate culture where it's like, no, you mustn't do this and you mustn't do that, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to bring the culture, you know?
Yeah. I
So we
feel
are
like
the
yeah, I feel like the this corporation I'm working at is kind of the opposite. It's so fucking lax and so irresponsible, and there's just so much chaos that I'm like instituting order into this place.
Yeah, you're doing the job of quote unquote the father. You're the
Right.
one who's cutting the boundaries and saying no and
Right.
yes.
And
The yeah.
that's what I'm having, I think, the hardest time with, because a lot of these, and I know why they do it, but there's a lot of men that kind of behave like women.
Yes,
Very
yes,
well,
yes,
because there's women there and women are competing with men. So it's like men don't, they can't really compete with these women as men. They
yes.
almost have to adopt the
The
tactics and the
feminine.
behavior of the feminine. So it then
Yeah.
turns these men into women, and like I go in there and I'm like, ew, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's all fun and games till I remember a similar situation I had. Um, it was sorry, I interrupted you.
no, you're fine.
Yeah.
I was
Um,
done.
there was a company that I worked in,
Hmm.
and then I did like a little. They basically had me working out of another office, and the company I worked in, as soon as the he wasn't even the CEO, he was the GM.
Mm,
He was a very, I will use the word, very masculine qualityed individual, meaning
mm,
he was very much by the books. Feelings did not matter.
yeah.
It was about getting the job done. And I remember building, I would spend hours and my eyes would be red. And I'd be working like 2 days in a row building a website and I'd show it to him. I'd walk into his office and he'd say, "It's shit, it's crap. Don't ever
Mm,
show me that shit again. But come here, let me tell you what you need to do next time." He'd give
right.
me advice, and I was so thankful for him. Like
Yeah.
everyone thought, "Oh, he's such an asshole. Oh my God." I'm like, no,
Right.
he was fantastic because guess
Right.
what? He helped us pay the bills because
Yeah.
he knew what the customers wanted. He wasn't involved in the world of feelings.
Right.
Like it's I always use the example of a pilot. If a pilot starts to say, "Oh no, sorry, you shouldn't be feeling this turbulence. Let's change altitudes," and he ends up flying like this, just because he's scared for your feelings and he wants to make
Right.
sure that you identify as a safe person, even though turbulence is part of the process. You
Right.
can
Right.
tell I'm a
Right.
nervous flyer because I read a lot about flying. Then what are you gonna get? My
Yeah.
God, or a doctor who cares more about feelings, and this is where it gets scary. Holy
Hmm.
shit!
Hmm.
Is because we're seeing that now. Like the
Oh
sex
yeah.
change.
Oh yeah. The
No,
experimenting on children thing and the
my goodness.
sterilization of children thing. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness. My goodness.
No,
And
it's pretty fucked up.
I watched the documentary of Matt Walsh, the What is a
Yeah.
Woman?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, when he went to the guys in Africa, that's
Yeah.
pretty that echoes like what like thankfully what we have as we're still as Arabs, we are very traditional, and that's good. We hold
Yeah.
on to our identity, and
Yeah.
because it's tied so closely to our religion, we have that. Um, you tell me about a man becoming a woman, and I will tell you about an elephant that is flying.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's mental illness.
Yeah.
Mr. Krish had a question. He wants to know if you'd be willing to come up on his panel.
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry,
I I saw
I
you guys had a little conversation back and forth.
yeah, I replied, but I'm also maybe I replied and my data cut at the same time because I did it while driving because I'm a
Yeah. Yeah.
lunatic. Um,
Yeah. Right.
I definitely, of course, more than happy. Like super, I'm already looking forward to it. I saw that comment and I thought I replied it. Maybe I was don't remember when, but definitely, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm open to be on anyone's podcast. Like I'm really on
Yeah.
anyone's.
That
Yeah,
would be a
yeah,
good conversation. I like seeing guys get together and conversating. Like
100.
it's the opposite of what typically happens.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, it always devolves into some kind of fight or I mean, but just for two men to come together from different sides of the world, I mean, you guys have so much in common. I
yeah,
mean, just as far as speaking multiple languages, like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think Erdem, if I'm correct, is from India. If I'm correct.
No, 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 that's Contriver. Iridium
Oh,
Kush is,
American.
yeah, he's American. I'm trying to
Okay,
think which state he's from. Michigan, maybe, but doesn't
maybe
live
one
in
day
Michigan. Yeah, yeah,
Michigan.
he's a chemical engineer.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Very cool. Very nice. Very nice.
yeah. MGTOW gentleman. Trying
MGTOW.
to trying to impart wisdom onto the younger
Good.
generations,
Good. Good.
share what he has.
And could share with me more information about MGTOW, because when I've tried to read about it online, or I've watched videos about it online, I understood it was just men going their own way. That's it. But I'm sure
Right.
there's a deeper philosophy, and it'll be a lot better when he tells me about it. So yeah, I'll need to get his email, and I'll reach out to him. I'll reach out to him after this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the philosophy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, or lifetime bachelor, maybe.
Is
That,
that I read
yeah,
that somewhere.
yeah,
I read that somewhere. I think it might have been uh, Erdem who mentioned this lifetime bachelor. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah. Here we go.
yeah. Yeah. It's perfect. How do I copy it? Okay, I can take it from YouTube chat because I
Yeah,
got it. Amazing, amazing. Um, oh wow, so many
people in
so
there.
many people in the comments. Wow, thanks. Wow.
By the way, hello, Bandit. Good to see you. Bandit's been AWOL for a while.
I have a question for you. How long has it
Yes.
been since you started this channel? How many years? Because it's been more. I mean, I've known you now for
Over
more than a
two
year.
now. Over two, I think. Which is weird because I originally thought I would dedicate like 2 years to this mission,
Yeah,
but now I'm like on a different part of this mission. So
yeah. The mission evolved.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Good,
kind of working on something ground level. There's some major changes too at this corporation. I cannot wait. There, like the next 30 days is like there was a big wig manager that came in and like gave everybody a talking to, and it was so great. It was like they were talking about responsibility and accountability and the standards of the company and how no, this isn't your company, this is somebody else's company, and you need to uphold these standards. And I was like,
yeah.
yes, like
And
this
you need
is
to
it
work.
right here.
You need to
Yeah,
work a
yeah,
specific
yeah,
way
yeah,
to get your bills paid. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I was excited about it. There was not a lot of people that were excited about that meeting, though. They were like, "Didn't you hear all the threats?" I was like, "No, I heard a bunch of promises to hold fucking people accountable. That's what I heard."
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then, yeah, definitely. I mean, to continue on that story. So I was working with this boss. I went to the
Yeah.
other company, and it was just such a mess.
Mm.
And I realized, yeah, it was inclusive. Oh, they had a pool table. Oh, they had this, and then I realized there was a lack of this managerial presence. It
Mm.
could be a woman, it could be a man, it doesn't matter. But it's the essence that's brought with it. Is it
Mm.
the essence of wokeism, or is it the essence of reality? Of there's an economy, we must pay bills, we need to survive, basically. Because feelings aren't going to pay our bills.
Yeah. No, they're
Even in the
not.
world of psychiatry and therapy, feelings need to be resolved, and then you get your bills paid. Or else you're a
Right.
poor therapist if you're just enabling different behaviors.
That's what they do, Muhammad.
Sad. It's sad.
They make these people crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm I'm really glad I have a great therapist,
Yeah.
and I met him. I've been meeting with him now for some time, and wow, the therapy hasn't been. I don't know. There's because I've seen, especially in What Is a Woman, therapists, and I'm like, how is that person who has mental disorders, who
Yeah.
identifies as a leprechaun or whatever the fuck you want to identify
Yeah.
as?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, I'm non-binary. No, you're fucking crazy. What do you mean you're
Yes.
non-binary? Non-binary, that's like my table lamp is non-binary. It doesn't have a
Right.
gender. What do you mean you're
Right.
non-binary? You don't
Right.
get to decide. You don't get to decide. That's like me holding my Mac and saying this is not a Mac. This is a Intel HP laptop.
Right.
It's insanity.
I wonder. Well, I mean, I blame feminists also for all of this shit, and the lesbians, the man hating lesbians.
I was just gonna say that. You
Right,
taught me that
right.
the other day.
Well, the L in LGBTQ plus all the things is, yeah, the
Started
shit
from
started with the lesbians. So yeah, I think
That's
that's
crazy.
the whole extension of, woman's choice. Like, you can choose whatever you want. And that's kind of weird that they work outside the bounds of reality with their choices. And they try to make other people fucking believe it too.
Yeah. And I think it extends. It's like, okay, you know what? In today's world, you have the choice literally
Yeah.
to do anything. You have the
Yeah.
choice literally to do anything. It doesn't mean that it should be a choice that is taken. Like, I have the
Right.
choice now to go and swallow 10 Panadol pills and
Hmm.
send my liver into failure. I have the choice as well to go and get sex change
Hmm.
and be on a lifetime of antibiotics, medications, hormone replacement therapy. Not that I would ever want to do that, but I'm
Yeah.
just using that example. Well, you have the choice to do that. Doesn't mean you need to partake in all of the choice.
Right. Like, I have the choice to round up every single feminist and burn them at the stake in the town square, but I don't do that, right?
Exactly. Just because there's a choice.
Right? Doesn't mean you have to be tempted.
Exactly. But yeah, no, really, it's like there's a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, we've reached a technological and medical advancement today where we are able to somewhat, not even completely, change the way you look, change your appearance
Right.
at the cost of multiple health problems down the line and probably some psychological damage that's going to be done.
Oh, way a lot.
A lot.
Well, there's already severe psychological
Yeah,
damage done that gets them to that point to where they want to do that
exactly.
to their
Exactly. It's
bodies.
like you don't need and then I don't understand this thing with this. I mean, thankfully, I hope I will never get sick. That's why I'm gonna stay living in the Middle East. I like it here.
Yeah.
Is I'll never see this weird, oh, I've transitioned or our child is transitioning and you need to be accepting and all of that.
Right.
It's a crime.
It is.
It's a
It's
crime.
child abuse.
It's a crime. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
crime. It's we say haram. It's literally it is forbidden. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? It's
Yeah.
I don't think we even need to verge into religion. It's just from a health perspective, from a psychological perspective. What the hell are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and it's like I share stuff in my community tab randomly that I see.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
saw yeah, look at this shit. Here. Let me display
Are you
this.
able to display it
Yeah.
on the screen? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
Look at this. This is Megan Fox's three sons. Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that to your sons? See, this is child abuse. This is a mother who's abusing her children in
Yeah,
in,
and
in
there's a
plain sight.
yeah.
Like, that's just fucking weird. Like, when I see that just it's fucking disgusting.
It actually makes me really sad. Like, honestly, like
For those poor sons, those little boys. Yeah, it's like
makes me cry.
they're not allowed to be masculine whatso fucking ever in their household.
They're not allowed to be. They've been robbed of a normal childhood.
Yeah,
Like, my best memories of my life, hands down, were egging houses, riding bikes, and being a complete rascal.
right, right.
I regret the egging houses. I caused a lot of trouble, but my best memories were just being being a boy.
Yeah.
Being a boy, the spontaneity of just comes with being a boy, not worrying about gender as a boy. If I was worrying about my gender, my parents would have taken me to a psychiatrist. They would have taken me to get my head examined if I was thinking that I'm a girl
Yeah.
stuck in
Yeah.
a boy's body. What is this?
Well, she's promoting it.
She's promoting
Yeah.
some type of mental illness.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. That's like someone who's depressed and you walk around and you feed them more junk food, you deprive them of sunlight and exercise, and you say, yes, your depression is your identity. This is what it is.
Right.
It's abuse.
It is abuse.
It's abuse. Yeah.
But it's mothers, it's women, so people don't
Yeah.
say anything
Yeah.
strangely, right?
I'll tell you a funny story, an interesting story.
Mm,
My brother in law, one day, just as a joke, we had house workers uh, dress up one of my nephews, and they made him wear like a ponytail like this, just a ponytail like this.
yeah.
He fired them. And they've been with us for like years. He said,
Right.
"What did you do to my son? Don't you dare!" He fired them. He canceled their employment contract and he got them fired. And I was like, yeah, because that's especially because I can understand why, because especially with this time in this age where this is becoming more common, he
Right.
fired them. He's like, no, you don't, like, we and he because he's quite religious, so we don't do
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
we don't even think about that. So I
Right.
can understand why he did it. It was like
Yeah.
completely unacceptable, and he didn't let it slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a father thing to do. He didn't nurture and say, "Oh, I can understand." He's like, "I don't care about
Right.
understanding. Bye bye."
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yep, good, good,
Yeah.
good."
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. If people had more hard nose like that, our world would definitely be a better place.
yeah, it would be. It would be. It would be.
Well, I'm working on spreading that culture wherever I go. Yeah, I have. There's so much going on at this corporation that's like big, like
Good.
super big, and
Like,
it is.
what's one of the things you could share with the viewers that?
I mean, just besides all the crazy bitches that have been fired up until now, the manager of this store actually just got fired because he was being the, I guess, the wall, or kind of the
Mm,
boundary. He was being the biggest fucking white knight there was.
mm,
So women weren't held accountable in this entire store because of this store manager. I don't know, I wouldn't say simped, but he gave women preferential treatment. So
yeah.
no matter what, there was no consequences for anything that they did behaviorally wrong, even policy wise wrong.
Yes, just go play.
Pretty much. Come here, collect a paycheck. Here, let's use company funds to throw yourselves a little fucking party. Like, yeah, with Black History Month, the feminists got together and threw themselves a fucking party on the company's dime. So, no, there's a lot of stuff. So, there's new management coming in, visiting management coming in, and yeah, they the whole store pretty much got a big talking to about, here's the standards from now on. This is what we're going to measure. This is how we're going to be holding people accountable. In the next 30 days, like, you're either going to be here after that or you're not. Like,
Yeah, because
I
by
was
the way,
like,
this is a
yes,
job. This is where
right,
you work and where
right.
you make things happen to make money for the
Yes.
enterprise.
Yes,
Good
and
luck
in
explaining
this
that.
store specifically, like a lot of people I deal with my profession, I deal with a lot of like small businesses, and a bunch of companies rely on this other business. So when this
Mm,
other business fails at providing really good customer service and products they need, it translates into my clients not being able
mm,
to serve their customers
mm,
appropriately.
mm,
I'm like,
mm,
it's a trickle down effect
mm,
of
mm, mm, mm,
incompetence. So
mm, mm.
yeah, there's just so much going on. I'm super fucking excited.
Good, good.
Yeah. Just putting, I think I'm putting in too many hours though, because I keep going to like all these day meetings and I work nights, and they're like, "Oh, you're here again." I was like, "Yes,
Yeah,
I'm just making sure things are, running
yeah,
smoothly."
nice. But this
Yeah,
is where sleep is also a requirement.
I
My son
know.
does not
I
sleep.
know. Well, guess what? After this, I'm going to sleep for a day. So it's going
This
to
is good.
be glorious.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is
It's,
good.
it's been a
Yeah,
good week.
good, good. Shall we shall we wrap up?
I think so. Did we cover? You didn't really. I'm going to have to find maybe a Islam scholar to really.
Probably.
I want to go over the Sharia law because I
Yeah.
think there's something there that can be translated into.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
100%. If I find anyone, I'll keep an eye open for you.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for you.
Yeah. I
I'll
appreciate
recommend.
this chat, Mohammed.
Same here. Very much, really, as
Okay.
always.
And we're gonna end this. Actually, share your channel name. I'm gonna share the
Sure.
link and talk
Um,
about what your channel is and why what you're
um,
where you're going with
so
it.
yeah, so I'm actually having to type in my channel because I don't know my channel name because I
You
am
changed it.
a careless YouTube content creator. It's Kader93. So at Kader93, Kadr93. Let me go to the YouTube and where is this? The YouTube link. Thank you. Thank you, Erdem. Thank you. I'm gonna just drop my channel name over here and everybody can see it. Um, uh, what was I gonna say? Just thank you. That was all I gotta say. I was gonna say thank you. Thank
Oh,
you for having.
what you're doing with your channel?
Oh, what am I doing with my channel? I
Yeah.
basically am recording videos that come to me in the heat of the moment when I'm thinking of something. I just pick up my phone and I record them, and there isn't
Hmm.
much production value behind them. And I'm mainly talking about my experiences as a not so young man who's now venturing into his 30s,
Hmm.
um, about my experiences and advice that I wish someone gave me when I was younger, and just my
Hmm.
experiences. I'm not really providing any solutions. I'm just providing maybe advice on what I wish I would have done, or the advice I wish someone gave me. So it's mainly geared towards just young men who are looking to better their lives,
Yeah.
and it's as personal as it gets. I talk
Yeah.
about very very personal things on there,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that many people will relate to it because our battles are quite similar. We're all the same.
Yeah, what I noticed from some of this stuff, like the courage you have to speak the truth about things you've experienced. Like I don't sense like an ego where you're like trying to be cool. You're like, yeah, that this happened.
Yeah, I
This is
tried
what I
that.
did.
Yeah, I tried to have an ego and to be cool, and it was too tiring because
Yeah.
it's an image that I cannot maintain. So I'm just me, and
Yeah.
this is where I am now. So I'm
That's
happy.
good.
I'm happy to connect with more young men. It's a lot more impactful than I thought it would be, and I'm glad to just share advice and listen and just partake in this experience together.
Yeah, good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, then let's end this. I'm gonna link your channel in the description so people can find you better. And thank you
Thank you
for
very
having
much.
this conversation, Mohammed. It's always a
Thank you
pleasure,
so much.
sir.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye
I
bye.
will.
Bye
Bye.
bye.